So a quick video on how I adapted this Kodak 127 Brownie to take 35mm film. First off, the shutter doesn't have a lock, so the chances of doing multiple exposures is pretty easy. To get round that, it's a simple hack. I took the lid off of a bottle and a bit of tape, and anytime I'm using this, I stick that to the top, and then that way I don't accidentally do any exposures. The first thing to note is on the back there is a window. Because we don't have backing paper on 35mm, I had to block it up, so I've put a bit of tape on the outside and the inside, just as a double precaution. So let's get this opened up, get that bit out of the way. Looking at the advanced style, you'll notice there's no buttons or indicators, so I had to add a couple of bits of tape that I line up. That way I know exactly where I'm sitting, and I know how many full rotations I've done when I'm advancing the film. I've got a rough idea of it. It's still a bit of a work in progress. So looking at film, this is a 127 spool with some cut down 120 backing paper, just purely for me to practice with. So I'm going to take this and load it in. You'll notice on the top of the spool there is a couple of notches that needs to lock in with the advanced style, so it can sometimes be a bit fiddly getting that in. Once you get it, you should hear a click and that's it locked. Okay, once you get that done, just tension up your film as you normally would. Onto the focal plane. Now, the focal plane's curved in this camera, so if you put 35mm in, it's just going to go straight across there. With the 127 film, if I put this backing paper in, you'll see that it's slightly curved. Okay, so the focal plane with a slight curve makes a big difference. So I've got a couple of brackets for going across here, so that the 35mm will curve to follow it. Now these are just very crudely made. Once they're in, they curve when they're under tension. I need to make them out of better stuff. Okay, so you can see that gives me the curve on the 35mm I need. Now if I didn't have those, which I didn't the first time, and you'll see it in the photos, the images are sharp at the edges, but they're blurry in the middle. So those brackets were my way around that. Now on to the important bit, how to actually get the 35mm spool into the camera. I got these two little pegs made up, they're 3D printed. There's a little bit of blue tack to hold them in because the tolerances were slightly off, so just got to make sure I get the right one in the right part. So that one goes in the bottom, yep, just checking. Right, get this into the top. Now the reason for the blue tack holding this in place is because you will be either loading this or unloading it in the dart bag. Now, I usually do this bit before I put it in the dart bag because it's slightly easier. I get my 35mm in, I take the end of my 35mm film, sellotape the end of that tab to the 127 spindle because it doesn't quite fit the slots, and then get it loaded. I will then put it in the dart bag when I'm putting the back on, just to make, because at that point I'll then be advancing it on to make sure those tabs lined up, and I'm done.